Doctors give artificial respiration to a drowning victim while a girl in a swimsuit poses for the camera. New York, 1940. Lion bite marks were found on the skeleton of a Roman gladiator. This proves that in ancient Rome, people actually fought lions in arenas. A German pilot jumps from a burning plane. Parachutes did not exist at the time. World War I, 1915. War orphans searching for food. Tokyo, 1946. Grandma sees punks for the first time in her life. London, 1982. Before the signing of Germany's surrender on May 8, 1945, the head of the German delegation, Field Marshal Keitel, seeing French military personnel among those present at the ceremony, was astonished and asked, "What? Did these also defeat us?" The first time Che Guevara's name appeared in newspapers wasn't related to revolutionary events, but when he took a 4,000-kilometer motorcycle trip across South America. All war propaganda, all cries, lies, and hatred always come from people who will not go to that war. George Orwell. A resident of a small tribe in the mountains of New Guinea, shocked upon seeing a white man for the first time in his life. Until 1930, these natives believed they were the only people on Earth. Passengers boarding the Titanic, 1912. Bonnie Elizabeth Parker, at age 18, a few years before meeting Clyde Barrow, USA, 1928. An amateur agronomist wins a competition and waits for the awards ceremony, California, 1975. A radio broadcast about gangsters, USA, 1930s. A vampire hunting kit, 19th century. German prisoners of war tidy up a football field during a break in a match between Moscow and Tbilisi's Dynamo teams. USSR, 1945. Attempt to cure a child suffering from rickets by passing them through a hole in a healing tree. Sweden, 1918. No, there is no banana there. 1958. Strongman Stefan shows his strength by pulling a car through the streets of Berlin with his teeth. 1925. Indians give a ceremonial salmon to a train conductor. Oregon, 1940. The Native Americans live peacefully, fishing, hunting, and using herbs for medicine. But then came the representatives of the exceptional nation and destroyed this people. Freddie Overstegen, a Dutch girl and killer of dozens of Nazis, along with her friend and sister as part of the resistance, lured men into the woods where they got a bullet in the head. Children playing among weapons in the ruins of Nazi Germany, spring 1945. The 16th century plague doctor's mask, used during outbreaks of bubonic plague. The beak was filled with lavender, cloves, and opium, intended to purify the air of miasmas, which were then considered the cause of the disease. Alas, it offered no protection. Fleas, the carriers of the plague, freely jumped from victims onto the doctors. An ordinary American bar from 1941 with a sign that says, "They don't serve beer to Indians." Martin Cooper from Motorola made the world's first mobile call. He called Joel S. Engel, a competitor from Bell Labs, 1973. A woman in a gas mask walks with a stroller, Germany, 1942. November 1966. Stagnant air trapped toxic smog over New York City for 3 days, killing 168 people. In 1925, a Belgian merchant, unable to sell his dresses, draped his entire house with them overnight. The police arrived, the town watched, and the dresses quickly sold out. A South Vietnamese widow weeps as the bell at a Buddhist pagoda in Saigon tolls the fire, January 28, 1973. The United States began a sharp reduction in its troops in the country. Russian soldiers teaching a captured German to dance. World War I, 1915. Leaders of the countries participating in World War II as children. Weighing the Soul, USA, 1907. American biologist and physician Duncan McDougall proved the existence of the soul by weighing a person before and after death. It turned out that the soul weighs 21 grams. Bicycles designed for riding on railway tracks. Pellston, Michigan, 1910. The mummy of Ramses II, the pharaoh who ruled ancient Egypt from 1279 to 1213 BC. Child labor remained a serious issue well into the 20th century, and children often worked in various industries in the USA. A Girl from a Cotton Spinning Factory, 1908. Mass burning of the Parangi, the Veil, Andijan, Uzbekistan, 1927. An attempt to remove a psychiatric clinic patient from a tree, London, 1895. Archduke Franz Ferdinand and the first elephant killed, British Ceylon, 1893. A local entrepreneur who carried chairs on his back and rented them out for 10 cents to tired tourists, Turkey, 1920. One of medicine's greatest moments, Toronto, 1922. Doctors Banting and Best injected insulin into children dying of diabetic comas. One by one, they woke up. To ensure the cure remained accessible to everyone, the scientists sold the patent for just $1. The new all-drive three-wheeled bicycle, tricycle, 1882. A horrific experiment from 1970 to determine whether there was a link between smoking and cancer. Christmas packages destined for soldiers who have been killed or are missing in action await return to sender stamps in New York, 1944. Trump is a chump, an anti-Trump rally by the Nation of Islam in front of Trump Towers in 1988. A break during a football match, England, 1920. In the USA, slaves were forced to wear iron masks to prevent them from eating, singing, and speaking their native language. Slavery was abolished in the US in 1865 and in Brazil in 1888. Unit 731 conducted experiments on Chinese women who were raped, impregnated, and purposefully infected with syphilis to see if the disease would be passed on hereditarily. World War II, veteran playing guitar to survive, Japan, 1951. The forced relocation of Native American tribes in the late 19th century, a tragic consequence of U.S. government policy. On June 3, 1980, due to a computer malfunction that reported a Soviet nuclear attack, the USA declared a nuclear alert. For 10 minutes, the world was on the brink of nuclear war. One of the 4 preserved human nervous systems, The extraction took over 1,000 hours. Strength test of a pipe. The inventor sits inside. Canada, 1920. Even after his death, Josef Mengele, known for his cruel experiments on Auschwitz prisoners, continued to participate in science. His skull was used for educational purposes for forensic students. In 1985, a functioning unmarked plane with the remains of 18 people in military uniforms was found in the wilderness. The examination showed they had died a year earlier, and all case files were classified. The defendant's dining table at the Nuremberg trials, Germany, 1945. A patient undergoing treatment for mental illness in Germany, 19th century. Sale of nuclear fallout shelters, Los Angeles, 1961. A woman mourns the tragedy of July 3rd, 1988, when the U.S. Navy shot down an Iranian passenger plane with 290 civilians, including 66 children. A 39,000-year-old mammoth carcass. Scientists claim it is so well preserved that its brain remains untouched. In 1945, the Red Army entered the Łódź ghetto in Poland. They found just over 800 Jewish survivors. The total population had been 204,000. Pretty Boy Floyd, a public favorite. In 1930s America, he robbed banks, and with each heist, he destroyed all the mortgage records, thereby relieving hundreds of people of their mortgage payments. Women at Work, 1915. A woman miraculously survived the attack of the Twin Towers on September 11th. A family portrait of a couple from the Netherlands, 1929. Copy. Fans waiting for a Beatles concert, 1964. The starving winter of 1944, a tragedy for the Dutch people. Players from the Toronto Maple Leafs and Chicago Blackhawks search for a lost expensive contact lens belonging to Jack Evans. Only 3 people in the USA were qualified to manually pack parachutes for Apollo 15. Their experience was so important that they were not allowed to travel together in one car out of fear that a car accident could jeopardize the entire space program. The world's largest monument to Stalin was unveiled in Prague, Poland in 1955. It was nicknamed the Line for Meat by the people. Military leader Geronimo of the Chiricahua Apache, right, who led the fight against the U.S. invasion of his tribe's land for 25 years. In 1886, he was forced to surrender to the U.S. Army. Black children at the fence of a whites-only playground, Alabama, 1956. A woman wanting but unable to buy a refrigerator. Sales closed for 5 years, Russia, 1990. The real Inglorious Bastards. After World War II, most Nazis responsible for the Holocaust escaped punishment. But this group of Jewish men tracked them down for years across different continents and carried out vigilante justice on several hundred Nazis. An elephant from a Belgian zoo is forced to work on a farm during World War I, 1915. The first same-sex marriage in history. Axel and Eagle Axgill became the first same-sex couple to receive legal recognition and rights. Denmark, 1989. It used to be easy to buy things now banned by law. The photo shows women buying cocaine on the streets of Berlin, Germany, 1929. Home massage, 19th century. A downed American fighter that violated Swiss airspace and attacked local aircraft in 1944. Shoot first, ask questions later. Friendly fire is a tragic reality in every conflict. In the 1950s, U.S. prisoners were volunteers to test roller coaster safety. Group school photo, Austria, 1899. In the center of the back row, 10-year-old Adolf Hitler. A 1951 photograph from the Korean War shows Chinese soldiers kneeling before Korean troops and pleading for mercy. In the winter of 1950, the Korean War reached a brutal peak. This photo shows thousands of refugees risking their lives to cross the shattered beams of the Taedong Bridge. A masquerade ball of the Illuminati, hosted by the Rothschilds in 1972. Way of fighting vagrancy in early 20th century USA. The vagrant was strapped to a chair and left outside for 10+ hours. Children and weather added to the torment. After that, most left town. The Nanking Massacre, December 13th, 1937. Japanese forces storming Nanking massacred the civilian population. Over about 6 weeks, the toll is estimated at 300,000 dead and over 20,000 raped women. The bow of the Titanic on the bottom of the Atlantic. National Geographic Magazine Archive, 1991. A Japanese soldier who continued to wage guerrilla warfare for 28 years because he did not know World War II had ended. Japan, 1974. This is a harvest festival in Indonesia. Locals dig up their deceased relatives from their graves and then bury them back into the ground after the festival. The coffins of 19 peasants are transported on trucks for burial. Pará State, Brazil. In 1996, 1,500 peasants occupied a highway near the village of Eldorado dos Carajás to protest the government's delay in settling their families. By the end of the day, military police with rifles and machine guns surrounded the protesters on both sides of the road and opened fire, killing 19 peasants and wounding 57. A hippie wedding, USA, 1960s. A real woman will always cover you, Italy, 1960. In the 19th to 20th centuries, clausophobia, a pathological fear of Santa Claus, was quite widespread. A selfie with Adolf Hitler, Germany, 1930s. Elvis Presley waits for eggs and bacon, while a black woman waits for her sandwich. Colored people were not allowed to sit. Tennessee, 1956. All members of this glider unit survived, went through the war, and in 2011 reunited as they were in 1944 before the Normandy landings. Samurai in front of the Sphinx, Egypt, 1864. German soldiers lead Polish girls to be executed, 1941. Before Hitler's rise, the swastika was an ancient symbol of good luck for 3,000 years. Native Americans tear down the statue of Christopher Columbus, Mexico, 1994. American paratroopers demonstrate psychological support during a first jump. A soldier's return home, Vienna, Austria, 1946. Thank you for watching this video until the end. I hope these photos impressed you. Some may have made you angry, brought a smile, made you happy, or perhaps even caused some negativity. Feel free to leave your comments and stay tuned for the next part. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video. Bye.